Hey everybody, Jack Boyles with Steam Engines USA, and today we're coming back with the assembly, another part assembly of this Jensen 50. So as you can see, we've got the firebox painted, we have the boiler has been polished, all of the steam engine, all the pieces have been polished and cleaned up. And so we are assembling this now. So the little boiler straps have been cleaned. I've got some new screws. I've actually had a hard time finding a slotted round head 32nd inch, ½ inch bolt. So I'm gonna go back for now. I'm gonna put these original ones back in there. We've got a new gasket set with new gaskets, and I've cleaned on these, and you know, I will probably need to take them and clean them and polish them some more, but I think the nickel is starting to come off. It's turning, see how that is, yellowish. So what I may end up doing is just having them re-nickel plated, but for now we're going to start the reassembly. And then down here we've got our heaters. So we're going to start with putting the heaters back into the boiler and strapping the boiler to the firebox. Alright, so I've laid my nuts and screws, little bolts out. So I've started it. So we're going to set the boiler down in the cradle, turn the straps around, and bolt them down as well. So we've set the boiler down on the firebox. It's looking really good. And so now we're going to carefully put these little bolts through the straps. Whoops. Tuck those down inside there. Yep. And then on the back side, I will have to carefully turn this whole assembly upside down so I can get to the screws. And I'm going to use a set of probably needle nose pliers. Let's find those. Yeah. And I'm going to hold the screw, the little nut. I'll hold the little nut like that up inside of there and then screw it down. So I'm gonna come back. I can't do that in video, so I'll come back once I got it done. Alright, so I've got the straps tightened down just a little bit, and if you notice, I don't know if you could tell, but the boiler is a little crooked. You can tell with these. So I need to turn it. So I'm gonna turn it just a little bit, get it straight, vertical, you know, so all the ports and stuff line up, and then we'll snug it down. Alright, so we've got that done. Now for our whistle, we have one of the little brown gaskets. It's called the number 3 gasket. White or brown for whistle, and in front of boiler and bottom of drain cock. So I'll use the same gasket for this as I do for the drain cock. So that'll come later. So I'm going to put that on and mount it. So we've got it mounted. Let's see, what do we want to do next? Let's go with the pop-up valve. So pop-up valve will go in this back hole. Pop-up valve are the red gaskets. See if we can have to thread that on with our fingertips. Be right back. So we got it threaded on. Turn that around. And snug that down finger tight. So we got the little gasket in there. So that one's good. let's go with the whistle, or excuse me, the gauge, pressure gauge. So the gauge is a little bit different. We'll go use Teflon plumber's tape, and we'll go thread it onto the whistle, but we want to do so with it wrapping, I guess it'd be clockwise. So when we screw this in counterclockwise, it tightens the Teflon tape down instead of it loosening up and bunching up. So I'm going to put a little bit on there and then we'll mount it. Alright, so I don't know if you can see where it ended, but I have the Teflon tape on. Let's see if it'll zoom in there. There we go. So we're just going to set it on there and just start slowly turning it until it gets tight. And I think I'm just going to go right there. We could probably get another turn out of it. However, that works for me. Okay. So now the fun part. We're going to put the heating elements back in. Alright, so we got these back. Now, as you know, remember, one of these came out real easy and one was harder. And I figured out this one was the one that came in and out real easy. That's the way it should be. This one was the one that took a little more time. And the first part is okay, but right in here is where it's swelling. Now, I could probably take a little sandpaper actually and sand that down, but once it's come out, look at that. I mean, it seems to be doing good now. So we're gonna put those in. Ta-da! And cross them over, because they were actually crossed inside of here, and then they were crossed back on the outside. So I'm going to feed our heaters through there, and I imagine probably, actually what we'll do, we'll go ahead and mount this on the board first. That way you ain't got to worry about it going anywhere, and then we'll come back with the heaters. So we're going to spin that around and put it on the board. Alright, so we've got it mounted on there. I'm going to go ahead and put our new steam dome gasket. And as you can see here, Dorita's marked it for me, steam dome. It is just a little bit bigger, or excuse me, a little bit smaller than the sight glass gaskets. This model doesn't have the traditional circle sight glasses, so I'll save that for one of the other engines. So I will not need that to use that one. So we'll go put that up here, get it snug down like so, and then we'll slide it up under the steam dome and bolt it down, put our screws through there. So coming along. Alright, so this is the screw for the steam dome, and let's see, the gasket is in good shape, so I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to leave that. So we'll pretty much screw that down. Screwdriver here, and just snug it up. I don't want it torqued in, so just snug, just a little hand tight there. And we're going to line up our original holes. Whoops. Oh, if I can get it right there. There we go. So I've got the original holes lined up. So now we're going to put our screws, and I've got all new screws for this. So we'll go with those, and we'll be right back. So we've got the screws in, and if you notice, I like to have the slots all headed in line with the boiler. So looking good. We're going to spin the boiler around and do the other side. Alright, so we've got those down. The boiler is secured to the base. Now we're going to come over and work on the smokestack base. So the first thing I want to do is put the mount for the smokestack back on there. So we're going to screw that down and I'll come right back. Alright, so we got the power wires back through the smokestack base. The mount for the smokestack's on there, so we're going to put 3 screws. These 3 screws over here, we're going to put those in. And again, I'm going back with new screws. I was going to use the originals, but a couple of them were in really rough shape, so I still kept them. So I have all the original screws, and I'm going to keep those with this steam engine. But we will go back with 3 new ones. Alright, so that's looking good. So we have our boiler on. We have it hooked up, connected to our steam engine. We have the smokestack base and smokestack on. Now we've got to put our plugs, put those on, and then we'll put our little 2-plug strip, our power strip. Alright, so we've got the plugs back on, and now we're going to put the outlet to plug it in. Alright, so we've got that back down, and then over here's our cord. And if you remember in my other video, I cleaned the cord with some fabric cleaner, and it turned out really nice. So we're going to set this over here up on the steam engine right there. That's a good place for it. That's kind of out of the way. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, so I found an even better way to put it. So we just tucked it right up under there. Good place for it. So we're going to spin this around and take a look at the front. Alright, so on the front now we've got our sight glass, and whoops, we have to have these little washers there, and here's that little gray one, so that'll go on there. And then these will be, actually not that one, this one. I have a white one and a black and a brown one. Actually I may take the one off of the whistle. I'll take the one off the whistle because I want them both to be the same color. I don't want to have a white one and a brown one. So I'll use these brown ones and put the white one for the whistle. And so let's put that on there now. Alright, so we'll have the little nut, excuse me, the little bolt, washer, sight glass, and then washer. So let's mount that up on the boiler and we'll take a look at it. And voila, we now have our sight glass on. Next, we'll go with our little peacock drain valve. Oh, it's snug. And here, let's say if it didn't go down in the direction that we wanted it to, let's say we wanted it right here, and let's just do this for just so we can see. So when I put it on the first time, the valve came kind of cocked to the left, and if I wanted it to the right, well, just put another washer on there. Or you could go with a thicker washer. How about that? So once you snug that up, like so, now we have the valve coming out to the side. And I could turn it on around and it'll be at the bottom. So, alright. Now let's put that new gasket on the end. I'm going to loosen those up and I'll come back. Alright, so as you recall in another video, the gasket I had on this just completely ripped apart and it was sucked into the cylinder, made almost like a web. So here we go, line this up with some screws and mount it on there. Alright, so we've got the gasket on there and we're just going around tightening these screws, or excuse me, these little bolts in. Not a lot, like you don't snug it down yet really tightly. Here we're just kind of going across pattern. To snug this down. And so you never want to tighten this one and then go like a clockwise or counterclockwise motion. That right there can create offset stress on the cap. So tighten 1, 2, come over here, 3. Whoa, we don't want to do that. 4. Oh, go over here. 5 and 6. So now we have that new end cap on, and it is looking good. The new gasket. Alright, so we're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll come back in just a moment and we should be about wrapping this up. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do is attach this water line from the boiler to the engine. So I'll be right back with that. Alright everyone, so we're back and it is looking awesome. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Just a really nice steam engine. And if you remember from the very first video when I brought it home, it would barely even turn over. And now this thing is just smooth, silky smooth. So hopefully in the next videos we will get it up and running and you can actually see it in action. So we're almost 20 minutes into this video. Thank you for sticking around and watching as we reassemble, put it back together. From the first video, that just looks 100% better. I mean, I really like this thing. This is one of my favorite Jensen steam engines that they ever made. So thank you guys for watching from High Point, North Carolina. This is a 1952 Jensen number 50 power plant with a minimalist restoration. We've gone in and polished and cleaned everything, washed it, painted the firebox, cleaned the cord, new gaskets, And I haven't replaced all of the gaskets yet, but I've replaced most of them. And once we run it, it will we'll know for sure. The only other thing that we need is the water cup. There will be a water cup that goes right here, and it feeds up into this water pump. And once we get that in place, it'll be good to go. So from High Point, North Carolina, Steam Engines USA.